Okay, this first problem, we're finding the area of a circle, and they give us the radius, so all we have to do is use the formula, which is area equals pi r squared. We know the radius is 2.5, so we'd say pi times 2.5 squared. 2.5 squared is 6.25, so if we simplify, we get 6.25 pi, and 6.25 times pi gives us 19.63 if we round. So it would be 19.63 square centimeters. Okay? So again, 19.63 square centimeters. Now we're finding the diameter, so we're going to have to work backwards on this. We're given the area, we want to find the diameter. So first we have to find the radius. Again, the same formula used here. We're going to use pi r squared. And the area is what's given to us, so we're going to plug that in for area. We get 113.1 is equal to pi times the radius squared. We're going to divide both sides by pi. And if we do that, those cancel, and we get r squared is equal to 113.1 over pi. We square root both sides, and r is here. Then we punch that in our calculator. What I would do is figure out what 113.1 divided by pi is, and then figure out what the square root of that number is. So the square root of the answer. So 113.1 divided by pi gives us about 36. It's really like 36.00. So if we take the square root of that, we should get about 6.00, or approximately 6. So the diameter, the radius is 6. To find the diameter, we do 2 times that 6, because that's more or less what it is, and we get 12. So our diameter is 12 centimeters in this case. Again, we're plugging in 113.1 for the area. We divide by pi. We take the square root of both sides. We get about 6. So our diameter would be twice as much, or 12. For this next one, we're finding the area of a sector. So we want to find the area of this part right here. We know the radius, and we know this central angle. So the formula is similar to what we did for arc length. So we're going to call this sector area. And this is going to be pi r squared, or actually we'll just say pi r squared. That'll be easier. Okay. If they want the area, you would put an a there, because a is equal to pi r squared. Over here, again, I usually just write central angle, but it is the measure of this arc right here. So just remember, the central angle and the arc are the same. And we're going to divide that by 360. Okay? So sector area is what we want. We know that the radius is 8, so we're going to say pi times 8 squared. We're going to make that equal to 70 over 360. And really, it looks like all we can do is divide by 10. So in this case, we would have 36 times the sector area if we cross multiply. And on the other side, we'd have 8 squared, which is 64. 64 times 7 gives us 448. So we'd have 448 pi. We multiply 7 times pi times 8 squared. We're going to divide both sides by 36. We do that so that the 36's cancel, and we'll have our sector area, which will be 448 times pi, and we'll be dividing by 36. We should get 39.10 if we round to 2 decimal places. So that would be square units, because it looks like there's not units for that. Okay. Oh, they want both sectors. Oh, okay, we'll do both. Well, the second one, we'll go back. For the second one, we would do the same thing, but instead of 70, we would do 360 minus 70. This angle right here would be 360 minus 70, which is 290. So we do the same thing. Sector area over, we'll just say 64 pi because we've already done that. And here we do 290 over 360. Again, I think all we can do is divide by 10 there. So we would say 36 times the sector area is going to be equal to 29 times 64, which is 1856 pi. We're going to divide both sides by 36. And if we do that, we'll have our sector area, which in this case would be 1856 pi divided by 36. I'll figure out that as well. 1856 times pi and divided by 36. In this case, we would end up with 161.97 square units. So now we figured that out for both. All right. So the first angle is 70, or the first arc is 70, the other is 290. So finding the areas, you can do it that way or you can do it my way. The first one ends up being 39.10, and the second one ends up being 161.97. Okay? So here's another one. This time we want to find the area of the whole circle. So again, I would use my formula. It tends to work all the time, and they tend to switch back and forth. So we've got sector area, and the sector, we'll write it down, sector area over pi r squared equals central angle over 360. So in this case, the sector area, we're not really given, but we know, oh, I'm sorry, let's figure out the area. We'll get to that. Okay. They want just the area of circle D. We know that the radius is 14, so here we would just say area is equal to pi times 14 squared. That's the same as 196 pi. And if I get my calculator out, and we multiply 196 times pi, we end up with 615.75 square feet, and I'm sure they're going to ask for the area of the sector, so we'll get back to that. So 615.75. Now we want the area of the red sector. I'm just going to go back. So the red sector, again, that's what we want, so we say sector area over, we would say 615.75, but I would use the number that's on your calculator. In fact, I'm not even going to write that. I'm going to write 196 pi, because that's the exact answer. Central angle for the red part is 120, and this is 360. So we're going to simplify. Hopefully you know that 3 of these equal 1 of these, so this is 1/3. We would say 3 times the sector area equals 196 pi. We're going to divide both sides by 3. And it doesn't look like that goes in evenly. It does not. So we're going to say that the sector area equals 196 pi over 3. And if we calculate that, we should get 205.25. Okay? And that would also be square feet. So you notice the whole area is 615.75. This part is 205.25. So we get 205.25. They say the area of the blue sector. You have two ways you can do this. You can do this the long way using 360 minus 120, which would be 240. So if you wanted to, you could say 240 over 360 equals, I think this was 196 pi, and this was the sector area. So if you want to do it that way, you can, and it actually wouldn't take that long now that we're here. So that would be what, 2/3? So then you would say 3 times the sector area equals 2 times 196. So 2 times 196 is 392 pi. We would divide both sides by 3. And since those aren't going to simplify, we would say sector area equals this. So I'm going to do 392 times pi divided by 3. We end up with 410.50 square feet. Hopefully some of you saw there was a quicker way to do this. You could have also done, if we go back to this, this is the whole thing, this is the red part, so the blue part should be what's left over. So we could have said 615.75 and 205.25, and if we had subtracted those, we'd end up with 410.50. So that was the other way of doing it. I would have done it this way, but if you didn't recognize that, that would get you the same answer. Okay? And we're done. Thanks.